If you are confused about salt, should you eat it? Should you reduce it? What kind of salt should you eat? You clicked on the right video. Hi, I'm Dr. Cori Stern. Welcome to my channel, Take Control of Your Health. If you've not yet had a chance to subscribe and you like my content, please hit the subscribe button now. It makes me so happy to increase my viewership and know that I am helping more people. If you like this video at the end, please hit the like button so that more people find it. And last and most importantly, please share this with anyone that you know that you think would benefit from the information. So today's topic is salt. It's very, I would say, controversial. There's so much false data and misleading information about it. And in general, it's been vilified. You may have been told that salt causes high blood pressure and you should avoid it, that it's bad for you. And that can be true depending on the kind of salt that you're eating and, of course, how much of it. If you're eating a highly processed diet, if you're eating foods in cans and packages and frozen foods, then you are eating too much bad salt. And we will talk about the difference between good and bad salt and how much you actually need to survive. So first, let's talk about whether or not you actually need salt. And salt is an extremely important nutrient in your body. It's a mineral, it's an electrolyte. You cannot live without salt. All living creatures need salt. So what does salt do in your body? Your muscles cannot contract or relax without salt. Your nervous system can't send electrical charges without salt. There are sodium channels in every single nerve in your body, every single muscle. And when we talk about muscles, that includes your heart. Your heart is also a muscle. So your body cannot function without salt. So where does salt come from? What actually is salt? So salt is a naturally occurring mineral that comes from the earth, just like every other mineral, every single mineral in your body. Calcium, magnesium, zinc, potassium, and sodium, which is what the name of salt is, mineral-wise, sodium. They all come from the earth. Salt is found in the sea and on the actual earth itself. The difference between salt coming straight out of the sea or from the earth versus, let's say, a commercial brand of salt that you buy in a supermarket, what's called table salt, is the amount of refining that's done to it. So commercial salt is refined salt. And when they refine it, what's happening is they're actually taking out all the other minerals that salt naturally has. And when you do that, you create something that's artificial. You create an imbalance. So instead of being a whole food containing all the things that your body needs, it becomes concentrated. And then, of course, with commercial salts, they're adding other things that aren't good for you, and most commercial salts have iodine added. So iodine is another mineral that your body needs. Your thyroid especially needs iodine, but not just your thyroid. Your breast tissue needs it, your prostate needs it. Iodine is an extremely important mineral, and a lot of people are only getting their iodine through commercial table salt. The problem is that the iodine added to commercial salt is, again, it's synthetic iodine. I do have a video on the difference between synthetic supplements or synthetic-based nutrients versus whole food supplements. I'll put a link to that video in the description of this one. So check it out if you don't know what the difference is. But synthetic supplements don't contain all of the things that your body needs to utilize them. So in that sense, they're somewhat useless. So current dietary guidelines on salt intake are less than 1 teaspoon per day. And I would agree with that in relation to what I call bad salt. So the processed refined salt, well, I don't think you should eat that at all. All right. So like I said before, if you're eating a lot of processed foods, even organic, okay, so organic frozen foods, organic canned soups, organic jarred sauces. Okay, great that they're organic, meaning they don't have pesticides in them, but they're still adding a lot of sodium to those products, and it's too much. All right, so I'm a big fan of controlling your quantities. So for example, I eat a lot of really good quality grass-fed raw butter, and I can get it salted or unsalted. I get it unsalted, and if I want to salt it, I put my own salt in, so I know how much salt is in there. I'm controlling my own quantities. Same thing if I want nut butter, I'll get a good quality organic nut butter with nothing in it but the nut, no salt. Put my own salt in, controlling the amount of salt that I eat. So the current dietary guidelines are less than 1 teaspoon. But if we're talking about eating good salt, most people need more than that. Most people need at least 1.5 to 2 teaspoons of salt per day, and more if you're sweating a lot, if you're exercising a lot, if you're out in the heat, if you're doing saunas, anything like that, that induces a lot of sweating, or if you're drinking things that have diuretic properties like caffeine, if you're drinking a lot of caffeine or alcohol. So you lose a lot of salt in your sweat and your urine. And we're going to talk about what happens when you end up salt deficient. So let's talk about why you actually need salt. So I mentioned that your muscles and your nerves need it. Your kidneys are really involved in your salt and fluid balance. So salt gives the kidneys information about your fluid in your body and whether or not to hold on to fluid or to push fluid out. Your adrenal glands, which are your stress glands, also are involved in this process. So your adrenal glands sit on top of your kidneys and they talk to each other about salt and fluid balance. And your adrenal glands also need salt. So I see a lot of people who are very stressed, who are very fatigued. I talk about this on other videos. That are salt deficient, and when you put even a 1/4 teaspoon of good salt in your water, suddenly you feel much better. All right, because the adrenal glands are functioning better when you are not salt deficient. Your pituitary gland is also involved in salt and fluid balance. The pituitary gland is in your brain, and it's one of the bosses of the hormonal system that helps keep balance of your hormones. So if you're salt deficient, your pituitary gland is working harder and maybe sending out incorrect signals. And as we mentioned earlier, nerves cannot function. Your nerves need salt to send signals, and your muscles, including your heart, need salt to relax and contract. So what happens when you're salt deficient and your muscles are not working properly, right? We'll talk more about that in a minute. Your bones also, your bones are affected by salt. So your bones are made out of collagen. I have a video about collagen if you're interested in learning more about it. And minerals like calcium and magnesium and phosphorus and sodium. So when you are deficient in minerals, any of the minerals, your body will pull the minerals out of your bones. If you're sodium deficient, your body will pull sodium out of your bones, but other minerals get pulled out with it. And when you get minerals pulled out of your bones, when your bones are demineralized, it's called osteoporosis, right? Your bones become fragile, and then you're more at risk of fracturing when you fall. So when you sweat a lot, when you're, let's say you're exercising and you're sodium deficient, you will sweat magnesium out of your body. This is your body's attempt at preserving whatever sodium you have because you need it for those other primary functions, your heart beating and your nerves firing electrical impulses and so on. So listen to this scenario, right? Let's say you're out for a run, you're sweating a lot, and you're sodium deficient. Start sweating magnesium, what happens? Boom, you get a muscle cramp. Very often muscle cramps are magnesium deficiency. So you can see how all of these minerals work together in a specific balance. When you're deficient in one, another gets affected. That's why it's important if you're exercising or otherwise sweating to make sure that you're taking in adequate salt. So like I mentioned earlier, I like to put at least a 1/4 teaspoon of salt in 8 ounces of water and drink it when I'm sweating a lot. And it just makes me feel a whole lot better. And I have a lot of my patients do this. Now, if you have high blood pressure and you're worried about it because you've been told that taking in salt increases your blood pressure, we'll address that in a few minutes. The other thing that salt deficiency can cause is sugar cravings, right? So when you're mineral deficient, when you're deficient in any mineral, I talk about this a lot on many of my videos, any mineral deficiency can be a culprit to sugar cravings. So when you need something like sodium or magnesium or other minerals, you get a craving and you're actually craving the mineral that you're deficient in, but you're not recognizing it. You're not identifying what it is that you actually need. So you actually need to be eating, spinach or steak, and you eat sugar instead. And if you've been watching my videos, you know that sugar is really bad for you. Sugar causes inflammation, and sugar actually competes with minerals for uptake into your cells. Salt helps get vitamin C into your cells. Salt facilitates your cells taking in vitamin C. Sugar blocks it. Sugar slaps it out of the way. Sugar's the bad guy. Salt's a good guy. Okay, so if you're having a sugar craving, you might want to try putting a little salt in water and drinking it and seeing if the craving goes away. So let's talk a little bit about high blood pressure. If you do have high blood pressure and you're nervous about salt. So from what I see in working with many patients over the years, it is the bad salt, the refined processed salts that are concentrated sodium that can have an effect on blood pressure. And there are some bodies that are more sensitive than others to this. So if you do have high blood pressure, I would, or if you don't want to have high blood pressure, you don't have it now and you want to prevent it, I will tell you, stay away from the bad salt completely. Okay. And then control your quantity, your intake of the good salt. I have actually seen high blood pressure occur as a result of a salt deficiency because your kidneys secrete hormones that regulate your blood pressure. So when your salt fluid balance is out of whack, it can affect your kidney function, your kidney hormone production, and then your blood pressure goes up. I've also seen people who end up with edema or fluid retention in their soft tissue. Let's say your feet, ankles, lower legs are swollen. I've seen people with salt deficiency have swollen lower extremities. And then when they start eating salt or drinking some salt water, the fluid leaves their body. Okay, so certainly worth a try with blood pressure. It's easy because you can just take your blood pressure, have your little bit of salt water, and then a few minutes later, take your blood pressure again and see if it went up, right? And that way you can figure out what your exact right dose of salt should be. So I want to tell you a little bit about some really excellent high quality whole food supplements that complement this conversation about salt, my favorite supplements. So the first one, I'm going to screen share here. The first one that's going to come up is my favorite, magnesium. So this is called Easy Mag. These are all from the company that I love, that I use most, which is Standard Process. They make what we call whole food supplements grown on a farm in Wisconsin. So Easy Mag is a type of magnesium that is made primarily from Swiss chard and buckwheat. And what's cool about it is it's what we call multi-magnesium. So multi-magnesium, if you know anything about magnesium, you know there's a lot of different types. There's magnesium citrate and magnesium lactate and magnesium glycinate. And you may have heard different types of magnesiums have different functions in the body. This one has all of them. So that way you don't have to figure out which magnesium you need. The other advantage to having a magnesium with all the different types in it is it's less harsh on your bowels. So a lot of magnesiums have a laxative effect on the bowels, and some people can't take the amount of magnesium that they need because it causes loose stool. And this magnesium is less likely to do that. And magnesium is needed for your nervous system. It's needed for good quality sleep, for your brain to work properly, and of course for your muscles. So that's my favorite magnesium. The next supplement that I want to go over with you is called iodomir. And this is a form of iodine that's really gentle. It's fairly low dose. Some people are afraid of iodine or they're iodine sensitive, but your body really does need iodine. If you're iodine deficient, it's going to cause problems. As I said earlier, your thyroid needs iodine to produce its hormone. Your breast tissue needs iodine to stay healthy. Your prostate requires iodine, and many other tissues in your body need iodine. So this is a pretty gentle iodine. It's only 200 micrograms per tablet. And like all the other supplements in the Standard Process line, it's made out of food. It's made out of New Zealand green mussel. So I actually take that one. The next two supplements are for blood pressure and heart health, not only because everything that we talk about does multiple things. Hawthorn is a wonderful herb that actually strengthens the heart muscle and heart function and helps to reduce blood pressure if you have high blood pressure. And so if you're concerned about your blood pressure, you just pop some Hawthorn and take your blood pressure and see if it reduces. So I have a lot of patients that use Hawthorn for that purpose. Ultimately, what we want to do is fix your body so you don't have high blood pressure. I do have a video on this topic on high blood pressure. If you're struggling with it, I would recommend that you watch it. And the last one that I want to talk about, oops, I already did that one, is called Cataplex G. So Standard Process does have some strange names. Cataplex stands for, in Standard Process language, vitamin. It's a word that the genius doctor that created Standard Process supplements made up, cross between complex and I can't remember right now, but I'll remember it before the video's over and tell you. So Cataplex G has some of the components of vitamin B that help, first of all, reduce blood pressure. Again, it relaxes your blood vessels, which is really cool, but it also has a relaxation effect on your body. It supports brain function. It helps your adrenal glands. It's good for your heart. So it has stuff in it that a lot of people are deficient in. It's also good for your liver. And it has coenzymes and cofactors that are needed for all your cells to function optimally. catalyst. I told you I was going to remember the word. So cataplex is a cross between catalyst and complex. And Dr. Royal Lee is the doctor that founded Standard Process. And the video that I have about whole food supplements, we mention him, and he back when he was creating these supplements, not that much was known about vitamins. So vitamins are a relatively new concept in the course of the history of planet Earth. So that's all I have for you today. I hope this was helpful. If you need specific help with your health, I am always available for virtual consults, and I will put a link in the description of this video for you to be able to request that if you want one. And again, please subscribe if you haven't done it. It's my reward for doing these videos. Don't forget to hit the like button because it does help with the algorithm so more people can find it. And last and most importantly, and I forgot something really important. I hope you guys are still watching. Don't leave me yet. I forgot to do a shout out to my partner in truth. Hats, Hardcore Awakened Truth Seekers. And that is a movement that was inspired into creation amidst hyper-political division in the past few years to get away from polarization and bring people together across the political spectrum to the truth and a sense of community that allows us to move forward. This movement is making real strides in achieving this vision. They have a huge Telegram channel with multiple posts every day with awesome videos and lots of great and important information. There's a blog also with articles that you would be interested in that I will put a link to in the description of this video. They have merchandise such as my cool hats, t-shirts. There's lots of other household items like my hats mug. And they also now have a donation page. It's www.buymeacoffee.com/hatstruth. I'll put the link in the description too. So if you like them, check them out. If you like their content, please either buy some merchandise or make a small donation to help them to keep going. So again, sorry I kept you a little longer, but I appreciate it. And don't forget to share this video with anyone that you know that you think would benefit from the information. And until I see you again, hopefully soon, stay healthy.